All right, welcome back everyone. We're going to be doing a little video here. Just my thoughts on what's happening in Wuhan, China. We've actually been putting together a video over the weekend, and all the pieces they're not quite done yet. But we went out shopping and got some last minute things, but I'm going to be kind of showing you our our priority products that we would recommend you pick up. Just in case this thing decides to come stateside. But this video is not really going to be about that. This is my thoughts as a precursor on the Wuhan flu. I call it Fluhan. There's several feeds and channels and vlogs that I've been following in regard to this virus, this event, or whatever they have over there going on. And it's very interesting because very slowly, you're starting to see what's actually happening. I've just been trying to follow, first as close to firsthand information as I can find. I know that everybody's got their take on it, and there's the conspiracy theories, and then there's the it doesn't matter and it's no big deal theories. I think really what's going on is a couple of things. First, what we're starting to see is we're really starting to see the result of what a collectivist government looks like. Okay? Oh, this is a big hill. Sorry. Collectivism is this idea that, they're micromanaging everybody, everything, every economic, everything over in that country. And you've seen in the last, 6-8 months, this uprising in Hong Kong. Red China, communist China has been making big moves to suppress liberty-minded people in their own country. I mean, in the last year alone. And they've been, not to mention the saber rattling that they've been doing towards the U.S. especially in the last couple of years. In the South Sea, they've been building islands and trying to, encroach on international waters, and who knows what they're going to do. Some people say that they're going to start a war and all this kind of stuff. They might. I mean, that would get the attention off of the Wuhan flu for sure. I think really what's going on over there, and I don't know where this thing started. It could have been from, the wet markets that they have. They're doing these illegally. For decades they've been told, hey guys, calm down with the exotic pet, markets for eating. You're going to spread a superbug. That's just what's going to happen. But the other speculation that people have is, this is a manufactured I think that's a little bit, far-fetched. This manufactured bioweapon thing. I think that's a little bit conspiratorial. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. When you do that, it's indiscriminate. So I would think even a collectivist government would be kind of worried about wiping out their own population or wiping out. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. The thing that fuels that idea is the fact that if you guys look it up a couple of weeks ago, and this is something you can verify. I can't remember his name. I'll link it. I'll see if I can put it in a caption. But there was a very prominent U.S. scientist who was arrested about 2 weeks ago for helping, and this is where it gets kind of weird, for helping build a lab in Wuhan for Wuhan University, and he was being paid under the table cash, millions of dollars a year, to set up this lab for Wuhan, China. And he had people who were, going back and forth, and it was just very shady. And he got arrested or indicted. I don't know if he was arrested yet. He was indicted on charges of, fraud and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, a lot of this stuff is very illegal to do. It's very interesting, what some of these coincidences are. Did it have anything to do with it? Probably not. But, it's very, very interesting that there's a lot of this stuff happening. So how do we bring this back to what's going on with the Wuhan thing, with the Wuhan flu? Well, China makes a lot of stuff. They make a lot of stuff for us. Let's be honest. They're in pretty much every segment of our industry, of our society. I mean, they make a lot of plastic injection molded things. They make parts, they make car parts, they ship us food. I mean, there's a lot of things that they build over there that we won't have access to if this thing keeps up. Okay, so that's the main thing. That's the main thing right there, is if this flu keeps shutting down their economy, which it has, then you're going to look at a shortage of supplies from China. So the video series we're going to be doing soon is talking about what do you need to get now. And if you guys are thinking about getting anything from, like, say, Harbor Freight Tools or really any sort of product, I would get it now. I would go get that now, because the way we buy things from China is we ship things over in large containers, and once that's depleted, guys, I don't know. I mean, it could be fine, but in a couple of months, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they might just shut it off. So if it's a car part or some sort of accessory or something that you're looking at getting, probably should go ahead and get that. So that's what I think is going to be the major disruption to our economy, is essentially their economy, right? Let's say we keep this flu thing contained over there, which it seems like it seems like we've been doing a phenomenal job at keeping that stuff at bay here. That can change. My theory on this kind of stuff is it'll probably be here at some point. I mean, the bird flu was a big deal, you know, and now it's just a common part of our flu shot. You know, it's just part of everyday life. This is what I think's happening. I'm grain of salt, but this is what seems like is happening and coming out of China, and why I think this disease is actually spreading so bad. There was just some footage that came out today or last couple of days where there's an official who walks out and says, listen, if you're sick and you come in here, don't expect to leave. They don't make it sound like this is here to get you well and put you back out into the population. You're doing this for the good of your country. You're going here to essentially die. So your death rate is, of course, going to go way up. I mean, you're putting people who are moderately sick. I mean, a lot of these people are not deathly ill at this point. But if they're around a bunch of people and you keep getting reinfected and you can't leave and you're going to be there until until this thing burns out, who knows? It's not a quarantine to keep individuals away from other individuals. These things are packed full of people, and they just put the body bags in there, zip them up when they're done, and then they're done. They're out. And so it's a very dire situation, I think, for the Chinese people and for the individual Chinese people. I'm friends with quite a few Chinese people, and I feel for you guys. You're great people, but this kind of collectivism is a wake-up call to us, because we think, oh my gosh, like they're putting him in quarantine to sort of help them out. It's not to help them out. There's no medicine there, okay? There was a lady who did a vlog, and she's in a very risky spot at this point, because she just went on this rant about how, what these things are. They're not hospitals. They're the general, what she called the common person, is not actually getting help from the government or from a hospital or medicine or anything like that. Okay? They're just, and that's why you're seeing this. And now it's kind of making sense to me while you're seeing, these military or paramilitary groups coming around. You'll see these people, they're just pulling individuals out of cars who they know are sick. And one lady, they just pulled her out of a car, and apparently it looked like they just broke her neck, and she just died right there. They just kept beating on her until she was dead. And so it's a dark situation there. And as more information comes out and these brave people start filming and kind of talking about, these citizen journalists, a lot of these guys have gone missing. These citizen journalists, they start talking about what they've seen, or they bring a camera into these wards and they show while they're not treating people or whatever, then they go missing, or they go into these quarantine camps all the same. So it's a very, very dark situation. And I think really what this comes down to is, this may turn into a little bit of a political rant here, but if you're thinking socialism is a good thing, okay? And this is what it comes down to. If you're thinking socialism, the collective, is a good thing, single-payer healthcare, well, this country has single-payer everything. If you're thinking, wow, that's a great idea, I would really challenge you to think again on that aspect. If you're thinking that communism, I don't know how many times I've heard this is, I hear it from my friends. Well, I guess politically I'm a conservative or whatever, but I go to church and I'm a Christian, and so as far as church goes, I guess I'm more socialist. You have no idea what socialism means then, if that's your mentality. We go to church too. We're Christians, and church doesn't really have anything to do with socialism. It's a voluntary thing. If you give to the church, it's completely, or it should be. I mean, if it's not, then we would consider that a cult. But if you voluntarily give your time and money to your church, that is free. That's free will. Okay? Socialism is not free will. It's the collective, where there's involuntary giving to the federal government or whatever. Communism is the government owns your industry. Okay? They are your employer, basically. So I don't know what it is with this generation that they just don't understand what socialism is. Do your homework. Go back and look at some of these cases in history of just the sheer violence in some of these countries when they implement communism or socialism. And you're seeing this play out. To us, we're going, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, in the grand scheme of history, it makes perfect sense. They're looking at people as a herd mentality or a collective, and it's not nice. When things happen, they will protect the collective. Okay? And so, I know a lot of people out there who are like, oh, we need single-payer healthcare here. We need the government to run it. Oh, how can you have money? I was just listening to this rant by this Chinese national talking about this the other night, and she's like, you can't bring money. You can't get help. There is no medicine. You can't pay for any of it because it's not a money thing, right? There's no money in medicine. Isn't that every progressive's dream in this country? We got to get money out of medicine. How many times have you heard that from the Bernie fan base, right? We need to get money out of politics and medicine. Okay? Here's an example. No money in medicine. Is that working? I would really challenge you guys to start thinking about that, okay, before it's too late and before we get into that situation ourselves. So that's all I have for this small rant. I'm running out of minutes on this thing, and it will be shutting off soon. So I will hope to see you on the next one. Stay tuned for a bigger video on this topic and many more. Good to talk to you. I'll see you on the next one.